Hello? We good? All right. How are we all doing today? Good, good, good. I'm happy to have all y'all here. It's great to see that the youth group is still going strong. We're getting new people, and it's great seeing the fifth graders and all that. New generation coming in, So can't wait to see what they're going to do. But yeah, so I'm Braeden. I believe I have an intro slide, if that can come up. If not, that's cool. Yeah, so this is my, the 12 years I was in, the Howard County school system. That's, what I learned with, Google Slides or whatnot. I'm not no Noah Lowe, but I think this is pretty good. I graduated from Mount Hebron. Pretty good school. Yeah, so I like the Washington Commanders, I know some people aren't huge fans of them. I know we got some Cowboy fans in here, but, that's all right. I like the Baltimore Orioles. I think we can all agree that we love them. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I love running, so that's a picture of me and my dad of Baltimore 10-miler, I think. That was a really crappy race for me. It was raining, which is fun. I love the rain, but that running that running high, I didn't get that to mile 4 or 5, so that was tough. And then I got a calf cramp on the last mile, so I'm trying to limp the whole time. But yeah, I'm really into running. And I meant to put this up there, but I love country music too. You can thank Noah Lowe for that. Or you can hate him for that. I don't know who likes country music, but yeah. And then I believe we got another slide up there. Yeah, so that's me in freshman year. Me and my friends love to call that the water machine. It's an iconic picture for me. Man. But oh man, I don't know about the buzz cut. I should have wore the hat earlier, but yeah. So I just want to give a real disclaimer real quick. So this it's more of a testimony than a message. Not everything may connect. I got kind of 4 main points that I wanted to hit on. I could have done a message, but I don't know if I would have had enough material for an actual message. So everything may kind of seem out of place, but I'm going to try to connect it as best as possible. So just growing up real quick. Standard Christian family, grew up in the church. Baptized when I was 9, I believe, 9 or 10. I think it was 3rd or 4th grade. But I'm pretty sure, and I can kind of confidently say it, I think kind of like most people, I didn't really understand what it was to have a relationship with God. I thought it was say my prayers, read my Bible, go to church, ask God to forgive me, and I'm all good. I'm all set to go to heaven and all that. But that's not really how it is. It's a lot more complicated than that. It's not necessarily complicated, it's hard. So, baptized when I was 9. So I'm going to kind of skip everything and just go straight to high school. Not much throughout my life, not much in high school, but yeah. So going into high school, I believed in God as I did all the years of my life or whatnot, but still I didn't really put in much effort. I didn't really read the Bible. I prayed, but it was maybe once a week, twice a week, and it was pretty much only when I needed something, or maybe I prayed at church when the pastor was talking or something like that, or prayed when he was praying. Didn't really have a great foundation on my faith. My faith was there, but really nothing to have a foundation on. So reading the Bible and praying makes that foundation. Didn't really have that. So around freshman year, early freshman year or mid-freshman year, I got myself into porn. Not a great thing, no addiction is. It was really hard to battle and all that. I played with fire and I got burnt. But what God gave me through that is He gave me mentors, and He gave me a nice little group to kind of check up on me and to kind of battle through that and everything. So that's something that was really great and all that. And although it took me a while to kind of get over the shame and kind of actually go to people about it, He was still there for me. That's pretty much all that happened through freshman year and stuff, and yeah, but sorry, I know I'm saying oh yeah a lot and but that's just how I talk. I'm not too much of a public speaker, but yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. So I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm gonna start this real quick so I don't go over, but yeah, Pastor Ross in the back. So, has anyone been to a party before and you don't got your friends there right away and they're like still coming or they're showing up a little late, so you're kind of just off to the side, doing your own thing on your phone or whatnot, just feel kind of like out of place, kind of lonely or whatnot, and you're still waiting for your friends to come and all that. That's kind of how I was in like kind of my sophomore year. I had people, I had friends, I had a community, but I didn't really feel connected to them. I kind of felt out of place, just kind of lonely. Like I didn't really know who to go to if I needed something. I didn't really know who to hang out with. I was kind of just there by myself. Now through this time, it's important to note I still didn't really pray much. I still didn't really get into the Bible too much. Kind of after the whole addiction thing, I just didn't really do much with the Bible or anything. And again, that's kind of a lack of foundation. What I should have been looking for is God. I should have been looking for God in that time, and I should have tried to use that time of loneliness to look to God and try to get connected with God. But yeah, I just didn't really do that. So I felt alone for a little bit. And over time, I ended up kind of throwing myself at people. So if I wasn't really, how do I explain it? Wasn't really choosing great friends. Now, it wasn't drinking alcohol, doing drugs, on the weekends and all that. Hey, you want to come over, get drunk with me? It wasn't anything like that. It was just not probably the best people to hang out with, probably not the best people to have relationships with. But it was, I was just throwing myself at people. However, I did make good friends, and I also made bad friends. So it was kind of a, good and bad. But it's kind of what I would advise if anyone's going through this, or if anyone kind of has been in a scenario like this, they can probably relate to it, is kind of be like Paul or the disciples. So it's kind of an extreme, but Paul, he killed a ton of Christians, but then became a Christian, and he kind of, he would write to churches, he would preach to churches, he would pray, he'd do all this other stuff, and he would, just be strong in his faith and all that, and eventually got jailed by, I think, Rome, my history isn't all there, but I'm pretty sure Rome. So he was thrown in jail, and but it's, even throughout that time, he was still praying, he was still writing to churches, I believe, and writing to people, I believe Timothy and some of the churches he was writing to in jail, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that though, but, and he was still strong with God, and even though he was alone, and even though he was, the world was against him, he still had God on his side, and he was still putting effort into with God, and still leaning on him when he needed him, which is what I should have done. I should have leaned on God when I needed him, and when I kind of felt alone. But also, the disciples kind of did the same thing. I know Paul was one of the disciples, but kind of like the main 12 or whatnot. I think, no, Paul wasn't one of the main 12. I don't know. My Bible history isn't there also, so I'm sorry. The main 12, they were also most of them were thrown in jail and eventually killed, but through that time, they still stood strong in their faith, and they still praised God, and they still tried to preach whenever they could. So they still stayed strong with God, and that's kind of what I should have done. That's kind of all about loneliness and all that stuff. So like I said, it's not really too connected. I'll try at the end, but sorry. Oh gosh. All right. So next up is kind of my anxiety kind of portion of it. So I dealt with a lot of anxiety during kind of junior year, early sophomore year, and all that. And it sucks. It could feel like everyone's looking at you, like 1,000 eyes are on you, or it could feel like you need to do something like right now or the world's going to end or something like that. But God kind of used that time to kind of get me connected with him. Like he would use running, he would use painting, the Bible. He'd use those things to help me grow closer to him and help me kind of just get away from the world for a second just with him. And that was something that I was really thankful for. But work was hard, church was hard, school was hard. Like I just didn't like doing anything social really. But he kind of allowed me to, sorry. But what I was going to hit on was prayer also works with anxiety. Like it could be a short prayer, it could be a long prayer, it could just be a 2-second thing. I believe when Pastor Jesse was here, he said it doesn't always have to be like a long conversation. It could just be, Lord, help me, and you, not necessarily you're all good, but you can kind of move on. And I believe I have a verse up there, Matthew 6, 28, 34. So this is I'm reading the Christian Standard Bible, but this is NIV, so that's more of what we use. And why do we worry about our clothes? Observe how the wild flowers of the field grow. They don't labor or spin thread. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in his splendor adorned like one of these. If that's how God clothes like the grass in the field, which is here today and thrown into the furnace tomorrow, won't he do much more for you, you of little faith? So don't worry, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? For the Gentiles eagerly seek all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be provided to you. Therefore, don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough troubles on its own. So I think we've all heard that before, but I do really like it. And some people may say, well, that's not necessarily worrying about now, because anxiety is like worrying about the now. That's more of worrying about tomorrow. But another verse for worrying about today is Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. We don't have to fear or have anxiety about now or tomorrow. It may be hard, but God will be with us through all of it, and God will, just carry us through it. And eventually, pain, suffering, anxiety, hurt, it will all end. It's all temporary, and God is forever. So that's just something that I think is really important. And I mean, it's not easy, but it's something that I learned over time. Dang, I'm going way too fast, my bad. All right, so I'm gonna kind of skip to senior year. So that was kind of my anxiety portion. This next portion is about community. So senior year, it was pretty easy. Had 2 classes, had work. It was a really easy year, but really fun. I'd either go home after school or work or hang out with friends. So that was a good time. But I learned something valuable about community, as I mentioned. So, as I said, kind of sophomore year, I kind of threw myself at people who came to me and all that. Kind of made friends who weren't always the best for me, but like I said, I also made good friends, kind of good and bad. And I wasn't really smart of who my friend choices were. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, I had both non-Christian and Christian friends. You don't have to have just Christian friends, non-Christian friends are fine too. Just make sure they're good people and won't treat you like crap or anything. But I was going to go on a kind of a tangent about non-Christian friends and how they're not bad, but I didn't have anything written down for that, so sorry. But yeah, around mid to late senior year, one of my good friends, he actually mentioned to me like, hey, I don't think you're being kind of treated well in this one friend group. And when I kind of looked at it, kind of outside looking in, yeah, he was pretty right. So I kind of just stopped talking to him, and they didn't really say anything about it. So that kind of showed me that I wasn't really in the friend group anyway, and I wasn't really there or anything. But I was blessed to have like a friend like that who would keep it real with me, even if it wasn't something I wanted to hear. Another example I have of a good friend God gave me was I was in a car once, driving down the highway or whatnot, and I was talking to a friend, and a situation happened, and he said, or I told him like my side of the story and this other party's side of the story, and he ended up kind of telling me like, yeah, you're in the right, you're in the right, but you're also in the wrong. So that's something that's really important that I think we need as Christians and just people in general. Like, a lot of this stuff isn't even just for Christians, it's just people in general. We need people who can be real with us and will tell us when we're wrong. And I'm sure most people don't want to be told that they're wrong, but I mean, it's important to know when you're in the right and wrong. And God also gave me more like good Christian friends. He gave me groups that I could talk to. Like, small group is really good. Like, I love the 12th grade small group. Like, they're awesome. It's good. We have like great conversations about, just religion, the relationship with God. Just bring up questions about our faith, bring up questions about life, and it's really good. And that's one thing God has used to really increase my faith and all that. So next part onto the community thing. We're making decent time. Sorry, I'm just trying to, go fast but not fast. So as Christians, we also have to be careful who's in our community. I kind of mentioned that already, but like, it's kind of like a weed. I'm pretty sure there's a parable that Jesus said about a weed, like, or something, but I'm not positive. I didn't look at that, sorry. That's just something I thought about. But we got to be careful who's in our community, because it could just ruin what we got going for us. People will influence you even if you don't notice it. And that's something I noticed, is that a lot of the people who I was friends with, they influenced my decision making, my how I talked, how I spoke, how I acted, and that wasn't the best thing for me. Those people weren't the best thing for me. But early into my senior year, I started talking to a girl, and over time I let her change me and stuff like that. And, at the start it was fine. I was praying. I was like, yeah, God, if she's the right one, or if or just tell me to be like respectful and loving and caring and all that. I prayed that stuff, and just over time I kind of stopped praying it just because of how everything was going and all that. But I also led her to change me and stuff like that. And like, as ashamed as I am to admit it, I kind of put her priority over like pretty much everyone else sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes, and that should never happen. God should always be the priority, no matter what it is, friendships, relationships, whatever, just life in general, like work, whatever. And I didn't really notice it at the time, but God gave me a community, like a lot of people who were telling me like, yeah, get out, like don't do that, like it's gonna end badly. And I thought, it's fine, I'll write it out, like I can fix her, well, it blew up in my face, as my friends said, and as the community said. So I was being stubborn and all that, but so guys, just don't let a girl change you, and especially don't put them before yourself. And girls, same thing, don't let a guy change you, and don't put the guy before God or anything like that. Sorry, I think I said the only one right. Don't put a guy or a girl above God and anything else. God comes first. But I believe I got another verse up there, Proverbs 12:26. There we go. A righteous person is careful in dealing with his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked lead him astray. And that NIV says, righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. So just choose good people in your life to have, whether that be friendships, relationships, and I mean, it's really messed up, but if you got a kind of not the greatest family, make sure you choose the right people in your life. Like my family's awesome, like I don't want to come out of my life, but if you're in a bad situation, where was I going with that? Choose people carefully, because they will affect you whether you notice it or not. All right, we're making decent time. So just wrapping up, a couple pieces of advice, and this is kind of where I'm going to try to connect everything. Just give everything to God, number one. Like, whatever you're going through, just give it to God. Like, that's what I had to do with addiction, and, like, I've dealt with, like, hate and all that other stuff. I just had to give it to God. Like, forgiveness and all that, just give it to God. It's not easy, but it feels a lot better when it's off your chest. But also give your past, present, and future to God. Like past, forgiveness and all that stuff, and like, oh, I'm sorry for what I did. But then present, pray for God to help you where you're at, and just allow Him to kind of give you allow Him to act in your life, basically. And same thing with your future. Allow Him to act in your life. Like, if He gives you an opportunity, pray that it's something that God gave you, and just go along with it and see where He takes you. And then 2, put in the effort. So a lot of the stuff that happened to me was because I wasn't putting in effort. Addiction, not having crappy friends, or having crappy friends was because I didn't necessarily put in the effort, and I just didn't have the good foundation, as I talked about earlier. It's really important that we have that good foundation. I would just read the Bible. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be every day. Like, it'd be great if you could do it every day, but stuff happens. You can't always get to it every day. But what you can do is just say a little prayer every day, and I would recommend that you make sure you mean it, because I've said empty prayers before, and it's just not really that special. It doesn't really do anything. Just say a quick thing either before you go to bed or when you wake up, and it can go a long way. It can really increase your faith and all that, and increase that foundation. And then lastly, recognize who your community is. I talked about that a lot. Just make sure you have good people in your life. Make sure those people are there for you. Make sure you're there for them. And just don't let people change you. Just keep God first. And so that's all I got. I'm going to pray real quick. Sorry, I'm going to turn off this timer so it doesn't interrupt anything. All right. We're chilling. All right, so I'm going to pray real quick, and then Pastor Jen's going to come up and dismiss us, and if she has any announcements, we'll do all that. But, Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us all here today. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. I pray that at least one person in this room got something from the message, Lord. Just having one person getting something from the message would go a long way. Lord, I pray that you help people here, whatever they're going through. They can talk to the leaders or their friends here. We have a great community here, Lord, and I just pray that you let them use it as an asset, and just allow them to have their life changed by you, Lord. Lord, allow everyone here to put you first. Let nothing come before it, Lord. We'll all go through struggles, Lord, but just let us keep you in our minds and just keep you first, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Amen.